Emily was just an ordinary waitress, doing her job at a small-town diner until one moment changed everything. When a group of teenagers bullied an elderly man, Emily stood up for him, but that act of kindness got her fired. Little did she know, her bravery would spark a movement that no one saw coming. Within hours of viral video, a mob of bikers and an unexpected job offer turned her world upside down. Who knew one simple decision would lead to her becoming a national sensation? Watch to see how Emily's life goes from ordinary to extraordinary in the blink of an eye.
A small town diner, the kind where everyone knows each other, buzzed with the usual lunchtime crowd. But today, something felt off. Why does it feel so different? In the corner, an elderly man with a worn leather jacket and a long gray beard sat alone, quietly eating his meal. 3 teenagers hovered nearby, smirking like they owned the place. Then, without warning, one of them snatched his drink and laughed. The old man sighed, clearly used to this kind of cruelty. The waitress, watching from across the room, clenched her fists so tight her knuckles turned white. How could they treat him like that? She'd seen enough, too much. The waitress, Emily, had worked at this diner for over a year. She knew the regulars, their orders, their stories, every little detail. The elderly man, known as Gus, was one of them. He came in every week, always polite, always tipping well, despite his threadbare clothes. But today, those teenagers had decided to make him their target. Emily watched in horror as Gus lowered his gaze, while the teens chuckled. One of them, a lanky boy with a baseball cap turned backward, leaned in close. "What's wrong, old man? Cat got your tongue?" he taunted. Another boy snatched a fry from Gus's plate and popped it into his mouth like it was nothing. The third, a girl with bright blue hair, pulled out her phone and started recording. "Say something for the camera, Grandpa," she mocked. Emily's blood boiled. Who do these kids think they are? The other customers noticed what was happening, but no one moved. Not a single soul. No one wanted to get involved. Gus, though, stayed silent, his hands resting on the table, his jaw clenched tight. He'd probably been through worse in his lifetime. Can you imagine? Emily took a deep breath and marched over, her heart pounding. "Hey!" Her voice cut through the air, sharp and commanding. The teens froze. "Leave him alone right now." The boy in the cap scoffed, trying to play it cool. "Relax, lady. We're just having fun." Emily didn't budge an inch. "This is not fun. You're harassing a customer. And if you don't leave right now, I'll make sure you do." The girl with the phone laughed. "Oh, what are you going to do? Call the cops?" Emily leaned in slightly, her eyes blazing. "Or I could call my manager and have you banned from here forever. Or better yet, I could call your parents. Oh, wouldn't they love to see this little video you're filming?" The smirk on the girl's face faded fast. She lowered her phone slightly. The boy in the cap rolled his eyes, but stepped back. "Whatever, this place sucks anyway," he muttered. As they turned to leave, the boy grabbed Gus's drink and threw it onto his lap. What a jerk. The cold liquid soaked into his worn jeans, and the teens burst into laughter before finally walking out the door. Gus sighed and reached for the napkins. Calm as ever, Emily quickly grabbed a clean towel from behind the counter and rushed it over to him. "I'm so sorry about that," she said, her voice trembling with frustration. Gus gave her a tired smile. "It's not your fault, kid. Some people just don't have respect." Emily clenched her jaw hard. "They shouldn't have treated you like that. Are you okay?" Gus nodded slowly. "I've been through worse." He patted her arm gently. "You got guts, standing up for an old biker like me. Not many people would do that, bless your heart." Before Emily could respond, a voice barked from the back. "Emily, in my office, now." Her stomach dropped. Oh no, what now? The manager, Mr. Reynolds, stood in the doorway, arms crossed, his face unreadable. She gave Gus an apologetic look before following her manager to the back. Inside the office, Reynolds shut the door with a thud and turned to her. "What were you thinking?" Emily frowned, confused. "I was protecting a customer." Reynolds shook his head. "You were threatening customers. Those kids have parents who come here every week. We can't afford to lose business over something like this." Her chest tightened. "Seriously? So you're saying I should have just let them bully him?" She shot back. Reynolds sighed, rubbing his temples. "I'm saying you should have let me handle it." Emily's fists clenched again. "But you didn't handle it. You just stood there." His face hardened. "That's enough. Hand over your apron. You're done here." Her breath caught in her throat. "Wait, you're firing me?" Reynolds nodded, cold as ice. "Effective immediately." Emily's heart pounded as she stared at him in disbelief. Is this really happening? She'd worked so hard at this job, shown up on time, covered shifts, treated customers well, and now, for doing the right thing, she was being tossed out like trash. The sting of humiliation burned as she removed her apron and slapped it onto his desk. Without another word, she turned and stormed out, her hands shaking with rage. As she stepped back into the diner, Gus was still there, watching her with those kind, concerned eyes. "What happened?" he asked softly. Emily forced a small smile, even as her eyes burned with unshed tears. "I just got fired." Gus's jaw tightened, but before he could say anything, Emily gave him a shaky nod. "It's okay. I'll figure something out. I have to." She walked out of the diner, the cold air hitting her face like a slap as the door shut behind her. What she didn't know was that in less than 2 hours, her life was about to flip upside down completely. Emily sat in her car, gripping the steering wheel so hard her knuckles ached. Her heart was still racing, fired, just like that, for doing the right thing. The unfairness of it burned deep inside her. She wiped her eyes, took a shaky breath, and tried to calm down. What now? She needed to figure out her next move. Bills were due. Rent was coming up. How could she afford to be jobless? Her phone buzzed, snapping her out of her spiral. A message from her best friend, Lisa. "Hey, want to hang out later?" Emily stared at the screen for a moment before typing back, "Got fired. Not really in the mood." Almost instantly, Lisa replied, "What? Are you serious? I'm coming over." Emily sighed. Oh, Lisa, always there for her. She appreciated the support, but right now, she just wanted to be alone. Before she could put her phone down, there was a knock on her window. "Who's that?" She jumped, then turned and saw Gus standing outside her car, his weathered face looking more serious than ever. She rolled down the window, her heart still pounding. "You okay, kid?" he asked, his voice gentle. Emily forced a small smile. "Not really." Gus nodded, like he got it, like he'd been there before. "I didn't mean to cause you trouble." "I appreciate what you did in there. Most people would have looked the other way." Emily shrugged, her throat tight. "It was just the right thing to do." Gus studied her for a moment, then reached into his jacket and pulled out a card. He handed it to her. "If you ever need anything, call this number," he said firmly. Emily looked down at the card plain. Just a phone number in bold black ink. No name, no business, just a number. "What is this?" She frowned. "What's this for?" Gus smiled slightly. "A lifeline." Before she could ask more, he patted the car door and walked off, his heavy boots echoing against the pavement. What kind of lifeline? Emily watched him go, then glanced at the card again. Weird. She shook her head and tossed it onto the passenger seat. Right now, she needed to focus on finding another job pronto. She drove home, her mind racing. How was she supposed to explain this to her landlord or her mom, who already worried about her nonstop? Maybe she could pick up some shifts at the grocery store, something, anything. Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of motorcycles, loud, roaring engines tearing through the distance. She glanced in her rearview mirror. Oh my God, what's happening? Her stomach dropped. A swarm of motorcycles, at least 50 or more, was riding down the main road, their headlights piercing through the evening light, their engines rumbling like thunder, headed straight for the diner. Emily pulled into her apartment complex and got out. Still staring in shock, there must be hundreds of them. She could hear the deep growl of their bikes. Even from here, her phone buzzed again, a message from Lisa. Emily, go on Facebook now. Frowning, Emily opened the app. What's going on? Her feed was flooded with a video, the video that blue-haired girl had been recording. It showed everything. Gus sitting alone, the teenagers bullying him, Emily stepping in, fearless, refusing to back down, and then her manager firing her all of it. The caption screamed, "Waitress stands up for elderly veteran, gets fired for it. This is wrong." Emily's heart pounded as she read the comments. This is disgusting. Who owns this diner? They need to answer for this. We stand with Emily. Someone give her a job. Where is this place? Let's show them what happens when you mess with the wrong people. Her hands shook as she scrolled. Is this really happening? The video had over 200,000 views in just 2 hours. The comment section was exploding. People were furious. Am I dreaming? Then another notification popped up, a live stream. Emily's heart skipped a beat as she clicked on it. It was from someone standing outside the diner, the camera shaking as the person gasped, "You're not gonna believe this. There are hundreds of bikers pulling up right now. This is absolutely insane." The camera panned, and Emily's breath caught in her throat. Oh my God. The entire parking lot was a sea of gleaming motorcycles, more than 500 bikers clad in leather jackets, some sporting matching patches that scream Dunity. And right there, standing tall like a quiet hero, was Gus. Emily's phone buzzed again, an unknown number. She hesitated, her hands trembling. Should she answer? "Hello," she said, her voice barely a whisper. A deep, steady voice came through, calm as a summer breeze. Emily. She swallowed hard. "Yes?" The voice paused, then hit her with, "We've got your back." Her stomach did a flip. "What? Who is this?" she stammered. The man chuckled warmly. "Let's just say you made some new friends today." The call ended, leaving her head spinning. Emily stood frozen, her heart racing like a wild horse. What was happening? Her hands shook as she lowered her phone, the roar of motorcycles still blaring through the live stream. This was unreal. Hundreds of bikers. All for her? Her phone buzzed again, and this time it was Lisa calling, her voice bursting with excitement. "Emily, are you seeing this? This is totally insane." "Yeah, I'm seeing it," Emily replied, pacing her apartment, her mind a whirlwind. "But I don't get it. Why are they there?" Lisa scoffed, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "Are you kidding me? You stood up for one of their own, and now one entire biker community is standing up for you. How cool is that?" Emily sank onto her couch, trying to wrap her head around it all. The viral video, the public outrage, the bikers, it was all happening so fast. A new message popped up from an unknown number. "Come to the diner." Her heart pounded. Should she go? Her stomach churned at the thought of facing her former boss. But curiosity clawed at her. What was waiting for her? She grabbed her keys and bolted out the door, her pulse racing. As she pulled up near the diner, her breath caught again. Holy cow! The parking lot was packed to the brim, rows of motorcycles stretching down the street like a parade. Bikers stood in tight-knit groups, their low voices humming, their leather jackets glinting under the streetlights. Some had their arms crossed, others scrolled on their phones, but every single one looked dead serious. Whoa! People spotted her instantly. Heads turned, conversations hushed, and then, clap. Someone started clapping, then another, and another. Within seconds, the entire crowd erupted, cheering, whistling, applauding, shouting her name. Emily. Emily. Her face flushed hot. She'd never had this kind of attention before. She spotted Gus near the front of the crowd. His weathered face lit up with a proud smile. She approached him, still dazed. "What's happening?" she asked, her voice shaky. Gus chuckled, his eyes twinkling. "What's happening is you stood up for me, and now they're standing up for you. Pretty amazing, huh?" Before Emily could respond, a deep, gravelly voice boomed behind her. "This her?" She turned and nearly gasped. A massive man with a thick beard towered over her, his leather vest covered in patches that screamed authority. His presence was intimidating, but his eyes, they sparkled with kindness. Gus nodded. "Yep, this is Emily." The man extended a meaty hand. "Name's Bear, president of the Iron Legacy MC." Emily shook his hand, still reeling. Nice to meet you." Bear smirked, his grin full of respect. "You got guts, kid. Not many people would have done what you did." Emily glanced around at the sea of bikers. "I didn't expect all this." Bear's face darkened, his voice low. "Well, your boss messed with the wrong people. Big mistake." Before she could ask what he meant, the diner door swung open, and Mr. Reynolds, her former manager, stepped out. His face was pale as a ghost. He gawked at the ocean of bikers, then locked eyes with Emily. Bear's voice thundered. "Is this the guy who fired you?" Emily swallowed hard, her heart pounding. "Yes," the crowd murmured angrily, a low growl rippling through them. Reynolds raised his hands, stammering. "Look, I didn't mean." Bear stepped forward, cutting him off. "No, you meant exactly what you did. You fired her for protecting one of our own. You let those kids harass an old man just because their parents spend money here." He gestured to the bikers, his arms sweeping wide. "Well, guess what? We've got money too, and we're making sure no one eats here again." Reynolds' eyes widened in panic. Wait, Bear wasn't done. "Hundreds of us, thousands across the country. You think this is bad? Wait till every biker in America knows what you did." The color drained from Reynolds' face. He's terrified. "Please, I can fix this," he begged. Gus stepped beside Bear, his voice calm but firm as steel. "Then fix it." Reynolds swallowed hard, turning to Emily, his voice desperate. "If I give you your job back, will you stop this?" Emily blinked. "Is he serious?" "Yes, you can have your job back. A raise, even," Reynolds pleaded, practically groveling. Emily stared at him, then at Gus, then at the crowd of bikers who had shown up for her. A slow, powerful realization hit her. She didn't need this job. She had power now, real power. She lifted her chin, her voice steady. "No." Reynolds' face fell. "What?" Emily crossed her arms, standing tall. "I don't want your job. I want an apology to Gus, publicly." Reynolds hesitated, but the glares from Bear and the others told him he had no choice. He turned to Gus, his voice shaky. I'm sorry for what happened today. It was wrong." The bikers murmured in approval, nodding. Emily wasn't finished. "And you're gonna make sure those kids never set foot in this diner again." Reynolds nodded fast, desperate. "Of course, yes, absolutely." Bear smirked. "Good choice, pal." Emily felt a surge of triumph as she turned to Gus. "Ready to go?" He smiled, his eyes warm. "Yeah, kid, let's get out of here." As they walked away, the bikers cheered. their roars shaking the air. What a moment. Emily knew her life had changed forever. And what was next? She had no clue, but it felt big. Emily stood among the roaring bikers, feeling something brand new power, not from a job or money, but from respect. She'd stood up for Gus, and now an entire community had her back. How incredible is that? Gus patted her shoulder. "You did good, kid." Bear smirked. "More than good, you made a statement." He turned to the crowd, raising his hand, and the noise died instantly. "All right, we've made our point. No one's eating at this place again. They don't respect one of us. They don't get our business." A wave of agreement roared through the crowd. "Dies." Several bikers removed their helmets, shaking their heads at the diner like it was doomed. Emily glanced at Mr. Reynolds, still frozen in the doorway. His face pale as ever, serves him right. His diner had just been blacklisted by a community he never knew held such sway. "Hey, Emily!" She turned to see Lisa rushing toward her, phone in hand, practically bouncing. "You're officially famous. Your story's trending on Twitter, celebrities are sharing it. And oh my God, businesses are offering you jobs in the comments." Emily blinked. "What?" Lisa shoved her phone in Emily's face. Sure enough, her notifications were wild messages pouring in from restaurants, coffee shops, even law firms offering receptionist gigs. "Someone hire this girl. We need more Emilys in the world." One post gushed. Before she could process it, another message popped up from an unknown number. "Call me when you have a minute. I've got a job offer that might be perfect for you." Emily hesitated. "Who's this?" she muttered. Lisa grabbed the phone, grinning. Only one way to find out. She hit the call button and put it on speaker. After a few rings, a smooth, confident voice answered. "Emily, glad you called. Who is this?" Emily asked, her heart racing. "Name's Sam Carter. I run a security firm protecting high-profile clients, celebrities, executives. We saw what you did today, and we could use someone like you, someone with a spine, someone who doesn't back down." Emily's breath caught. "A job offer? Are you offering me a job?" Sam chuckled. "I'm offering you a career. Come in for an interview, we'll talk." Emily stared at Lisa, who was practically vibrating with excitement. Gus smiled proudly, his eyes shining. She'd walked into work that morning, expecting another boring day. Now she was jobless, famous, and maybe about to step into a whole new world. Her life would never be the same, and for the first time in forever, she was totally okay with that. Bring it on.